pay a higher rate than what they were previously paid with the new contractor.
I mean, they're essentially giving us a 20% increase
Pretty much.
without notice.
Just, and not budgeted in our budget either.
Correct.
That's where I'm going with that.
So you'll be doing some more options.
Does county government generate a profit? You know, you can't answer
The 2018, I believe, with your solid waste, I think it showed maybe a $3,000 or $4,000 profit in the solid waste. Because I did pull the numbers just to look.
that. What's your thought, Mr. Ford?
I'm highly interested in looking at other options. I looked at some probably a year ago, just studied up on different options. Whatever we've got to do to where we can save the taxpayers and all, to where we do not have to go up on the garbage rate again on this one occasion. Because we cannot keep going up on them, but at the same time, we cannot eat the money.
How much of an increase did we have this year?
$3.
$3?
Do we have to vote on this to agree to that?
Oh.
This just for your information
Actually,
scenario?
Just,
Could we not give Ms. Buckner the authority to look more
I think
into
he's already
this?
got that.
I mean, at this point here, November the 1st, today's November the 4th.
We're
We
paying this right
are
now.
paying this rate
that's correct.
through Friday's
The letter was
pickup.
dated October the 14th. And that was our first notice.
Do we need to have a motion to research?
We just need to look at other options, I think.
No, I would say that there's no need for a motion until and unless you find a viable alternative and propose it. Until then, you don't have a viable option but to continue with the landfill at their increased cost.
I don't know if they can pay for themselves just using Hall's Gates and Henny.
Okay.
I'm trying to pick a Powerball with them. I mean, facts are facts.
But the whole thing about it is that much of an increase,
Yeah, if we split it or something.
all of a sudden. And get notification, 10 days, 15 days before it's due?
Well, they're going to be obviously aware that without the city's business, the landfill may not be financially feasible for the county. But I would say you'd get your ducks in a row and find out what your alternatives are and that you have a reasonable alternative
Before you go to the incumbent.
before you go to them and say,
Correct.
we have found, we've located an alternative. So, you negotiate the rate with us or we find a new provider.
Let's go that way then.
Yeah.
We need a
So
motion for
just
that.
let Ms. Buckner and Mr. Ford continue exploring the options. If they have one, she'll bring it to your attention.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's good.
So am I to understand correctly, at the transfer station, there's an outside source paid by the county, be it a private trucker that hauls this to Dyer County?
That's correct.
So we could, our only expense could possibly then be to establish a transfer station and have a trucking company bid to us what they would charge.
Right.
So it may not be a tremendous investment, other than establishing the transfer station.
Well, like I said, we just need to look at the options to see what's available and to see what is viable and what's in the best interest for the city, for our citizens.
So did we ask you to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. questions or issues?
I would just like for everybody to continue to keep Chaplain Nolan in your prayer. He lost his father last week, and I can keep him in your prayers. Chief, did you have anything?
Just one thing, Ms. Austin. I was asked several times last week after the severe weather come through early that morning, I was asked by several citizens, how come the early warning weather sirens, they did not hear them in their home? Just, that is a outdoor early warning siren. It is not intended to be heard inside your residential home. They are outside early warning sirens. That's unless you're living in one of the houses across from the high school down here on the south end of town where one of the alarms are located, or if you're right in an apartment up here around the square, you're more than likely not going to hear that in your home. They are not intended to notify you inside your home. It is an outdoor warning siren.
Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the Park and Rec, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
With the fire department, we wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving. And let you get over on
You made them wear their Sunday clothes tonight.
I've got several things here I need to mention. Okay, I mentioned it 2 or 3 times. What about the trees now? Remember, Washington. Or,
It's just now got to November, they didn't anticipate it until sometime in November.
of course, the board got, and Mr. Johnston's here tonight. Your name is, we got the handout for the subject Homestyle Christmas. And I gave the board a printout that we got from the bank today. Mr. Lee.
Yes, sir. We're really excited. The Bank of Ripley's taking the lead and had Devco, Ripley Downtown, and several others on having this first ever event that we're going to have the 13th, 14th, and 15th on the downtown square, skating rink. And you've got a list of all the other things that's going on. Looks like it's going to be really big. We want folks to come. We're going to have all kind of things for kids, for families, things like that. We want to make it an annual event. So we'd like to do it because we'll have the, like I said, the skating rink, have a snow machine, so we'll have that, give you that snowy feeling as you're going around, the lights, the different, we'll have decorating, Christmas ornaments. Well, there's just going to be several things that's going to be coming out, but we're really excited about this event that's coming out, Mayor. So, but we really appreciate the Bank of Ripley taking the lead because it's pretty expensive to get a skating rink up here for 3 days. Also, just letting you know that the trunk or treat was a big success. Even though the weather was a little bit on the nippy side, we still had around 1,000 kids that came through. So had 32 different groups that provided candy. So it was really good for that too. Also, I want to remind everybody, Veterans Day Parade is this Saturday. And we need everybody to come out to support our veterans. We're losing veterans all the time. The World War II, Korea, they're passing on. And we've got quite a few older ones coming. We'll be feeding them at the First United Methodist Church, feeding them breakfast at 8 a.m. that morning. The lineup for the parade will be 9. The parade starts at 10. And then our program at the church will start after that, which will be around 11 o'clock. So several things going on right here.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Okay, I see Mr. Sam here tonight. I know he's interested. Where are we on the Lauderdale High gym from that standpoint?
They've been issued letters, and I believe it was middle of this month, I believe, before that has expired. According to,
You're talking about the owners?
right.
you've got any questions, Mr. Sand, talk to the attorney. Please, sir, after the meeting. And where are we on the apartments?
That has been filed. The action to declare them not in compliance with the court's earlier order has been filed, and I have served 2 of the 3 addresses that I had for them by certified mail. The 3rd, return on service, has not come back, and coincidentally, that's the one we need to get served worst. But we have it scheduled for a hearing in early December. But we have from now until then, even if by certified mail we don't get a return, that we can send out a private process server and get them served. And that's what we'll have to do. It'll cost a little bit more, but not a tremendous amount. We'll just have to have a process server to track down the property manager.
And what Mr. Lee said earlier, the marketing director that sent this called me last week, and I told her to get this to Ms. Hanna so we can hand this out. And basically, they want us as city to support this endeavor.
Mean you're gonna skate there?
Did it one time, but probably not. Not the bones can't handle that. Appreciate both newspapers being here. Appreciate Nikki, you being here with WTRB. Our 2 students are running the camera tonight. They want to call break last time. Also, now, Mr. Smith had mentioned in regard to the military, of course, we just had the international fellows in here, and there's 47 people representing 35 countries worldwide. My wife and I hosted a Serbian colonel. My first choice would have been a Croatian, but there wasn't a Croatian in the bunch. But the feedback that you get is unreal, and I sent 2 newspapers today in the mail to Colonel Vladimir in Arlington, Virginia, for the pictures that are in both papers. I mailed it, but the word that sticks out to me, I've got written down here, is magnificent. And Miss Counselor, City Attorney, they hosted a fellow also, so I know she got some positive feedback, but the word magnificent was used big time.
We had a Norwegian captain who stayed with us, and what she said was she didn't really know what to expect from the experience, but she certainly didn't expect anything as wonderful as she did experience with this community.
And, you know, they go to the National Defense University for 1 year in D.C., and they make trips. They've been to Montana, Philadelphia. They were going to Hawaii, but this is the only place where they stay in a house with a family. All the rest, when they left here, they stayed at the Peabody and the Westin and spent a couple nights in Memphis. In Ripley, Tennessee, American family. So maybe somebody in the audience would be a host next year, because Judge Walker's always looking for host families. And I know Roger Leak, I talked to Roger Leak, they always host. They fed 40 people that night for the dinner. How they did it, I don't know, Mr. Beard, but they fed 40. It's more than the Beard siblings in there. Okay, I'll cut it off. At this point, I'll make the motion that we adjourn. Okay.
I hate to pick on the chief so much, but
He's a big man, he's got broad shoulders.
I knew it was coming because I saw him looking at the paper. Now, we had 310 more people charged in the court. This, a total of 414. What's going on?
We are being proactive.
We're getting out, doing more activity. I mean, I can only answer this by saying these officers have 8 hours to do a job. And I don't want them sitting around not doing anything. If they don't have a call for service, then I need them to be out doing something. And this is what we are doing, is doing more activity as far as going through the different areas and doing what you see on the paper. Now, when you look at that paper, you're not looking at 300 and some people being arrested. You're looking at 300 and some charges. It's 414. 414 charges. 310 over last year. Okay, 400 and something charges within 30 days. And that's not much. That's not.
Is that many more people getting caught, Mr. Beard?
My suggestion is, tell them to slow down.
Amen.
You get with the chief, Cheryl. He's a good man. Although he keeps telling me he's a tomcat,
It's a
I
tomcat.
tell him we're a tiger over here. He's still my friend. I feed him what he feeds me.
And then let me explain something else, and then we can go, because Dallas come on at 7:20. There is such thing as proactive and reactive. The only thing we can do is proactive, is what you see on paper. Now, reacting is what the gentleman is saying earlier. We can only react to what happened, because we cannot say, no one has ever came up here and said, well, at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna shoot up this house. No one's ever did that. The only thing that happens at 10 o'clock, if it happened, we have to react. And then when we react, there are people who see things, but never say anything. So we are caught up in a catch-22.
It's kind of like me last night, Mr. Beard, being proactive with the TSA and the Phoenix Airport. I had a nice bunch of chocolate chip cookies that were given to me in a bag. And at age 75, a senior's supposed to be respected from the standpoint, you don't have to take your shoes off, you don't have to take your jacket off, and you don't have to take all your electronics out. Well, they really scanned me yesterday, and they took that satchel that I had, those chocolate chip cookies, and Deanna kept telling me they're doing their job, and I guess technically these people transport these drugs and these foods, so they didn't confiscate my cookies, so I still got them, but I was a little hot. I said, you're treating the senior pretty tough here, scanning me pretty good, I want to complain on you, but I shut up. At this point, I'll make the motion that we adjourn. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Wait, Markayla, which one's it good? This or that? Because hit it. That's not even a turn it to off. Or should I stop it?